The big meeting room was full of strange aliens from all over the galaxy. 12 different species sat around a huge table made of shiny metal. The room was so big that voices echoed when someone spoke. Today was supposed to be just another boring peace talk, but something felt different. Jake Morrison sat with his back straight in his chair. He was the human ambassador, and he looked tired. His gray hair was neat, but his eyes showed he was getting angry. Next to him sat Lisa Blake, a tough military commander who kept looking at her tablet. She was reading reports about battles and ship movements. On his other side was Alex Carter, a smart scientist who tapped his fingers on the table. He was getting impatient. The snake-like alien from Vorthok was talking again. His long body moved as he spoke, and his voice made a hissing sound. The human species must understand that their land grabbing in the Outer Rim breaks our rules. We want them to leave sectors 7 through 12 right now. Jake stood up slowly. The whole room went quiet. Every alien I turned to look at the humans. Some aliens had big eyes, some had crystal skin, and others were just floating gas clouds with machines to help them talk. Land grabbing? Jake's voice was calm but strong. We moved to empty planets. We built trade roads, protected our people from space pirates. If that is land grabbing, then maybe this council thinks peace means giving up. The tall crystal alien called Chancellor spoke next. His whole body was made of clear crystal that caught the light.
Oh.
Your people are too young to understand. We have kept peace for thousands of years by talking carefully and making deals. Deals. Lisa Blake stood up too. Her military uniform made her look serious and strong. You mean giving up? You looked at all your peace deals with human colonies? Every single one helps the old alien species and hurts human growth. Alex Carter turned on a floating screen that showed numbers and charts. Look at this data. Humans get 12% of new territory rights. But we pay 35% of the defense costs and give 28% of all new technology. Gas Cloud Alien spoke through its machine translator. Its voice sounded like it was talking down to children. Young species must earn their place. Your kind likes to fight too much. This worries all of us. Jake's eyes got narrow and hard. Fighting? We kept every treaty. We protected council shipping roads. We shared our medical discoveries for free. But you see fighting where we see strength. The Zephyrian alien looked like a big bird with colorful feathers. Maybe time to think would help the human team. Say no human expansion for 6 months while we check territorial claims. The silence that followed felt heavy and uncomfortable. Jake looked at Lisa and Alex. He could see the same anger and determination in their eyes. They had come here hoping to work together as partners. Instead, they found aliens who treated them like bad children. Ambassador Morrison, the Crystal Chancellor, spoke again. Surely you see why we must keep order. The Council's wisdom has stopped Galactic War for 3,000 years. Jake picked up his papers and stood. And in those 3,000 years, how many species have you really helped become strong? How many have you kept forever learning their place? Snake aliens. Voice carried a warning. Ambassador, you would not want to make quick decisions that your species might be sorry for later. Lisa Blake's hand moved toward her weapon. Is that a threat? It is a reminder, the gas cloud replied, of what happens when species try to live alone. No species does well alone in this galaxy. Alex Carter closed his tablet with a loud snap. We lived alone before. Can do it again. Jake walked toward the door. Lisa and Alex followed him. At the doorway, he turned back to face all the alien delegates. The Earth's delegation is leaving these talks. We will call you when you are ready to treat us as equals instead of problem children. As the 3 humans left, the aliens looked at each other with worry. The Crystal Chancellor's light seemed to get dimmer. Maybe, the bird alien whispered, we should have been nicer. Nonsense, the snake alien replied, but his voice did not. Sound sure? They will come back in a few days asking to be let back in. But even as he said this, reports were already coming in from across the galaxy. Human ships were leaving joint patrols. Human colonies were stopping resource shipments. To council worlds, the huge human trade network was quietly but efficiently cutting ties with Council-linked merchants. The humans were not just leaving the peace talks, We're leaving the council completely. The Crystal Chancellor received a message on her communication device. Her assistant's voice was worried. Chancellor, we are getting reports from the Outer Rim. Human defense fleets are withdrawing from patrol routes. The merchant ships are requesting immediate escort protection. What do you mean withdrawing? The Snake General asked. All human. Military ships have left their posts. They are returning to human space. The trade routes they were protecting are now empty. The bird aliens' feathers ruffled with nervousness. They cannot just abandon their duties. There are treaties. Treaties they no longer recognize, the gas cloud observed. If they have left the council, they are not bound by council agreements. Another message came in. The Chancellor's crystal features showed confusion and worry. The human research station on Kepler Prime has shut down. All human scientists have packed up and left. The cancer research project was supposed to save millions of lives. Alex Carter had been working on that project for 2 years. The aliens had limited his access to their medical databases, saying he needed to learn proper procedures first. Now, those life-saving discoveries would never happen. It's just a tantrum, the Snake General insisted. Young species always throw tantrums when they do not get their way. But deep down, he was starting to worry. The humans controlled the most important trade routes in the galaxy. Their technology was often better than what the older species had. Their military was strong and well-trained. The bird alien was reading more reports. Human colonies are declaring themselves independent of council oversight. They are setting up their own trade agreements with non-council species. Non-council species? The Chancellor asked. Yes, the younger civilizations that we have not yet accepted into the council, the ones we said were not ready for membership. The room fell silent as they realized what was happening. The humans were not just leaving, they were building something new, something that might compete with the council itself. How many species are talking to the humans? The gas cloud asked. Intelligence suggests at least 15 have made contact. More are showing interest. The Crystal Chancellor's light grew very dim. For 3,000 years, the Council had been the only major power in the galaxy. Every species wanted to join. Every species followed their rules now for the first time. There was an alternative, and that alternative was led by the species they had just dismissed as too young and aggressive. The humans had left the peace talks, and in doing so they had started something that would change the galaxy forever. 3 weeks had passed since the humans walked out. The big council meeting room felt strange and empty even though it was full of aliens. The human seats were empty, and somehow that made everything feel wrong. Chancellor Zixthera called the emergency meeting to order. Her crystal body looked dull in the dim lights. We meet today to talk about the serious problems that started after the humans left. General Kethver, the snake alien, moved his long body uncomfortably. Serious is not a strong enough word. Space pirates are attacking our trade ships in the Outer Rim. The human patrol fleets that used to protect our trade routes have just disappeared. Disappeared? The gas cloud alien pulsed with worry. They were taken away. There is a difference. Result is the same, snapped Ambassador Veltar, the bird alien. Merchant ships are being attacked every day. Our own defense fleets are spread too thin to cover the routes the humans once protected. Dr. Nixara, the Council's chief analyst, turned on a floating display showing shipping statistics. The information is scary. Pirate attacks have gone up by 340% in areas where humans used to patrol. Trade has dropped by 60% on major routes. Chancellor Zixthera studied the numbers with growing fear. Surely they will come back to their council duties soon. Ambassador Morrison seemed like a reasonable person. Reasonable, General? Kethber's voice was bitter. He walked out of talks like an angry child. His species is not mature enough for galactic leadership. And yet, Dr. Nixara continued, their absence has created a power gap that is making the entire Outer Rim unstable. The human defense network covered 12 major sectors. Without it, we are seeing territory fights break out between species that have not fought in centuries. The blue-skinned Maltharian delegates spoke for the first time. Maybe we did not understand how much they were doing. The humans were involved in far more than just protecting ships, explain, the Chancellor demanded. Their science exchanges, their medical research, their technology innovations. My people have been waiting for advanced water cleaning systems that could save millions of lives on Melthor Prime. The human research team just packed up and left 3 days ago. Ambassador Veltar's feathers moved with irritation. They are acting like spoiled children. This tantrum will end soon. Will it? The gas cloud alien flickered with uncertainty. We have been watching their communications, what little we can. Intercept suggests they are not planning to return. Dr. Nixara brought up another display showing human territory boundaries. Intelligence reports show massive military buildups along their border systems. They are not just sulking, they are preparing for something. The room went silent as everyone understood what this meant. General Kethfer was the first to speak. Preparing for what? Surely they would not risk open war with the Council. They do not need to, the Meltharian delegate said quietly. Look at the map. Human space includes the most important trade routes in the galaxy. If they close their borders completely, they will choke interstellar commerce. Chancellor Zixthera's crystal features got darker. They would not dare. The economic consequences would be terrible for their own people. Would they? Dr. Nixara changed the display to show resource distributions. Human colonies are largely self-sufficient. Their manufacturing capacity exceeds their consumption needs. They export far more than they import. The uncomfortable truth was becoming clear. The humans were not dependent on the Council. The Council was dependent on them. This is ridiculous, Ambassador Veltar declared. One species cannot dictate terms to the entire galaxy. We managed for thousands of years before they arrived. Did we? The Meltharian delegate's question hung in the air. Or did we just maintain the same old ways? When was the last time the Council achieved anything truly important? When did we last expand our territory, advance our technology, or solve a major galactic crisis? General Kethfer's coils tightened. Peace is not achieved through expansion and conquest. It requires wisdom, patience, and respect for established order. The humans brought more than military might, Dr. Nixara observed. Their approach to solving problems was different. More direct. More willing to take risks.
Yes.
More reckless, the gas cloud alien corrected. More effective, the Meltharian countered. The Corvin plague that killed millions in our outer colonies? Human medical teams developed a cure in 6 months. The asteroid mining techniques that doubled our resource output? Human innovation, the defensive technologies that ended. Pirate raids in the Inner Rim? Human engineering. The Chancellor's form seemed to get dimmer. You are suggesting we made an error? I am suggesting, the Meltharian delegate said carefully, that maybe we have been thinking about this backwards. We assumed the humans needed us. But maybe we need them more than they need us. The room erupted in worried discussion. Species that had maintained careful diplomatic relations for centuries were now openly questioning the Council's basic beliefs. Enough. Chancellor Zixthera's voice cut through the chaos. We are the Galactic Council. We have maintained peace and order for 3,000 years. We will not be told what to do by a species that has barely mastered space travel. But even as she spoke, reports continued to come in. Human colonies were doing well in isolation. Their military was expanding rapidly. Trade networks were reorganizing to exclude Council members entirely, and most troubling of all, other species were beginning to notice. The human model of self-reliance and rapid development was looking increasingly attractive to younger civilizations that were frustrated with the Council's restrictive policies. New alarm sounded. Dr. Nixara's face went pale as she read the incoming message. The Rigel Confederation has announced they are considering independence from Council oversight. They want to establish direct diplomatic relations with human colonies. Cannot, General Kethfer whispered. The legal framework does not allow for partial withdrawal. The legal framework assumes voluntary participation, the Meltharian delegate replied. If members choose to leave, we cannot stop them without becoming exactly what we claim to prevent, an oppressive galactic empire. Another message arrived. Dr. Nixara's voice was barely audible. The Tau Centauri systems are formally requesting information about establishing independent trade agreements. They specifically mention the human economic model as their preferred framework. The weight of these announcements settled on the room like a heavy blanket. The humans had not just left the council, they were showing other species that there was an alternative. How many species are involved in these inquiries? The Chancellor asked. 7 confirmed, with 12 more expressing interest. Dr. Nixara looked shocked. Combined, they represent 30% of galactic military capacity and 50% of industrial output. General Kethfer's body coiled into defensive spirals. This is war by other means. They are trying to destroy the council. No, the Maltharian delegate said with sudden understanding. They are trying to replace it. The room fell into shocked silence as everyone realized what was happening. The humans had not thrown a tantrum. It executed a strategic withdrawal, allowed the council's weaknesses to become obvious, and then offered an alternative to species frustrated with the old ways. They planned this, Ambassador Veltar whispered. From the moment they walked out, they were planning this. Of course they did, the Maltharian delegate replied. They are humans. They do not just react, they plan ahead. Chancellor Zixthera stood slowly, her crystal features reflecting the lights like broken glass. Then we have a choice to make. We can stick to our principles and watch our authority crumble, or we can adapt and try to stay relevant.
You're talking about surrender.
General Kethfer hissed. I am talking about survival, the Chancellor replied. The galaxy is changing. We can change with it, or we can become a footnote in history. As the session ended, the council members went to their quarters, each carrying the weight of an uncomfortable truth. The humans had left the peace talks, and in doing so, they had shown the galaxy that the council's version of peace was built on stagnation and inequality. Now the galaxy was choosing something different, something that looked like the human model of dynamic growth, mutual respect, and shared prosperity. The council had maintained peace for 3,000 years, but they were learning that peace without justice was just oppression in disguise, and the humans, as always, were showing them a better way. 6 months had passed since the humans walked out. The big council meeting room felt like a tomb. What used to be the busy heart of space diplomacy now echoed with the hollow sound of failing authority. Emergency meetings had become normal. Today's crisis was the Corvin Sector Rebellion. 3 younger species had declared independence from council control, saying they were following the human example in their announcement. Chancellor Zixthera stood before a tactical display showing all their growing problems. The situation keeps getting worse. Admiral Vexic, please give us your report. The bird-like military commander's feathers looked dull with exhaustion. The Corvin rebels have somehow gotten advanced weapon systems. Their defense capabilities have increased greatly. We think it is human technology, though we have no proof. No proof? General Kethfer's snake-like body coiled with anger. Else could have given them such advanced systems? Humans have kept complete communication silence, Dr. Nixara reported. Their borders stay closed. Do not even know if they are aware of the rebellion, let alone helping it. Ambassador Veltar's voice carried desperation. Maybe that is our answer. We need to contact them directly. Surely Ambassador Morrison would respond to a personal request. We have tried, the Chancellor admitted. All communication attempts have been ignored. It is as if human space has become a void. The blue-skinned Maltharian delegate had become an unexpected voice of reason. He accessed his own data files. I have been studying the pattern of changes since they left. The picture is troubling. He turned on a timeline showing galactic events. Trade disruptions, territory disputes, technology stagnation, resource shortages. Every sector where humans were previously involved has experienced significant decline. You are exaggerating, the gas cloud alien protested, though his form flickered with uncertainty. Am I? The Nexus Station plague that killed thousands. Humans had the medical knowledge to stop it. Failed terraforming project on Viridian Prime. Human atmospheric processors would have succeeded. The collapse of the tri-sector defense grid, human engineering maintained those systems. Dr. Nixara brought up a comprehensive analysis. The data cannot be denied. In the 50 years since, humans joined the Council. Galactic prosperity increased by 300%. Technology advancement rates doubled. Death rates dropped by 40%. Economic growth reached levels not seen in 1,000 years. And now? The Maltharian delegate asked. Now we are in recession. Innovation has stopped. Conflict is increasing. The very peace we claim to protect is falling apart. Admiral Vexic shifted uncomfortably. Maybe we could negotiate, offer concessions. Concessions. General Kethfer's voice was full of disdain. We are the Galactic Council. We do not negotiate with rebels. They are not rebels, the Maltharian delegate said. Quietly, they were members. Members who felt their contributions were undervalued and their growth restricted. The Chancellor's crystal features reflected the lights in broken patterns. You are suggesting we made errors in judgment? I am stating facts, the humans asked. For territory expansion rights equal to their contributions. We denied them. They requested representation on the military committee. We refused. They proposed joint research projects. We limited their access to preserve established hierarchies. Because rapid change leads to instability, Ambassador Veltar protested. Does it, or does stagnation lead to revolution? Delegate pointed to the display showing rebel sectors. Look around. The galaxy is changing whether we guide it or not. The question is whether we will be part of that change or victims of it. A new alarm sounded. Dr. Nixara's expression grew serious as she read the incoming report. The Tau Centauri Alliance has just announced their withdrawal from Council jurisdiction. They are requesting direct diplomatic relations with the human colonies. The room fell silent. The Tau Centauri Alliance represented 15 species and controlled some of the richest mining systems in the galaxy. They cannot, General Kethfer whispered. The legal framework does not allow for partial withdrawal. The legal framework assumes voluntary participation, the Maltharian delegate replied. If members choose to leave, we cannot stop them without becoming exactly what we claim to prevent, an oppressive galactic empire. Chancellor Zixthera's form seemed to dim further. How did we reach this point? We maintained peace for 3,000 years. By preventing change, Dr. Nixara said softly. By keeping younger species in subordinate roles. By prioritizing stability over growth, humans challenged that model. And we responded by trying to force them back into line. So what do you suggest? Admiral Vexic asked. We abandon everything we have built? I suggest we consider that maybe the humans were right. Maybe partnership requires equality. Maybe peace requires justice, not just order. The gas cloud. Alien's form pulsed with worry. You are talking about fundamental changes to galactic governance? The older species would never accept such radical shifts. The older species may not have a choice, the Maltharian observed. Look at the data. The younger species are already choosing. The question is whether we adapt to reality or get swept aside by it. Another alarm sounded. This time, Dr. Nixara's face went pale. The Rigel Confederation has just declared independence. They are announcing the formation of a new galactic alliance with the humans as founding partners. The weight of that announcement hit the room like a physical force. The humans had not just left the council, they were building something new. Many species are involved? The Chancellor asked. 7 confirmed, with 12 more expressing interest. Dr. Nixara's voice was barely audible. Combined, they represent 40% of galactic military capacity and 60% of industrial output. General Kethfer's coils tightened into defensive spirals. This is war by other means. They are trying to destroy the Council. No, the Maltharian delegate said with sudden clarity. They are trying to replace it. The room fell into shocked silence, as everyone understood what was happening. The humans had not thrown a tantrum. They had executed a strategic withdrawal, allowed the Council's weaknesses to become apparent, and then offered an alternative to species frustrated with the status quo. They planned this, Ambassador Veltar whispered. From the moment they walked out, they were planning this. Of course they were, the Maltharian delegate replied. They are humans. Do not just react. They strategize. A third alarm rang. Out! Dr. Nixara looked at her tablet with growing horror. The Andromedans have just severed all trade agreements with council members. They are redirecting their entire commercial fleet to human-controlled space. That is impossible, the Chancellor stammered. The Andromedans have been council allies for over a millennium. Not anymore, Dr. Nixera replied. Their statement says they are seeking more dynamic partnerships with species that value innovation and growth over tradition and control. The room erupted in panicked discussions. Species representatives who had maintained careful diplomatic relations for centuries were now openly questioning everything they had believed about. Galactic governance. Admiral Vexic received a communication on his personal device. His feathers drooped as he read it. The Outer Rim Defense Consortium has collapsed. Without human support, our joint military exercises have been cancelled indefinitely. What about our own forces? General Kethfer demanded. Spread too thin. Across too many sectors, we relied on human fleets to cover 60% of our patrol routes. Without them, we can barely maintain security in core systems. The Meltharian delegates stood slowly.
Now the truth is becoming clear.
For 50 years, we convinced ourselves that we were managing the humans. In reality, they were carrying us. That is absurd, the gas cloud protested, but his form was flickering. With uncertainty, is it? Name one major galactic achievement from the past 50 years that did not involve human contribution. One significant technological advance that came from council research alone. One successful diplomatic resolution that did not rely on human mediation. The silence that followed was deafening. Chancellor Zixthera stood slowly, her crystalline features reflecting the lights like fractured glass. Then we have a choice to make. We can maintain our principles and watch our authority crumble, or we can adapt and try to remain relevant. You are talking about surrender? General Kethfer hissed. I am talking about survival, the Chancellor replied. The galaxy is changing. We can change with it, or we can become a historical footnote. As reports continued to stream in about more species joining the human alliance, the council members realized they were witnessing the end of an era. The galaxy had chosen progress over tradition, equality over hierarchy, innovation over stagnation, and the humans, who had simply asked to be treated as equals, were now leading a revolution that would reshape the stars themselves. 1 year after the historic walkout, Ambassador Jake Morrison stood on the observation deck of the UEF Destiny. He watched the construction of New Geneva Station through the large windows. The massive space station would serve as headquarters for the Galactic Federation of Free Worlds, a very different organization from the council they had left behind. Amazing progress, said Admiral Susan Price, joining him at the window. Hard to believe it has only been 12 months. Morrison nodded, watching the construction crews working together perfectly. Human engineers worked alongside Regulian architects, Tau Centauri miners, and Andromedan energy specialists. When species work as equals, instead of in hierarchy, amazing things happen. Sir, Lieutenant Commander Ryan Foster approached with a communication tablet. Incoming message from the Ilarian Chancellor. She wants formal diplomatic contact. Morrison and Admiral Price looked at each other. The Galactic Council had stayed silent for months, stubbornly insisting that the Rebel Alliance would collapse without their guidance. Put her through, Morrison decided. Chancellor Zixthara's crystal features appeared on the screen, noticeably dimmer than Morrison remembered. Ambassador Morrison. I hope this communication finds you well, Chancellor. It has been quite some time. What can I do for you? I come to request a meeting. Council wishes to discuss the current galactic situation. Morrison raised an eyebrow. The council that spent 3,000 years ignoring our contributions? The council that treated us like children who needed to learn our place? Times have changed, Ambassador. Circumstances have evolved. Indeed, they have. Morrison pointed toward the window where the massive station continued to take shape. 23 species have joined the Federation. Our combined territories encompass 70% of the galaxy's inhabited systems. Our joint military capabilities exceed anything the Council ever assembled. The Chancellor's form flickered with what might have been discomfort. We may have underestimated the appeal of your governance model. Our governance model? Admiral Price stepped into view. You mean treating member species as equals? Sharing resources based on contribution? Making decisions through consensus? rather than decree? The younger species seemed to find it attractive, the Chancellor admitted. Morrison smiled grimly. Let me guess. The Corvin Sector rebellion has inspired others. The Outer Rim territories are declaring independence. Your trade routes are collapsing as species choose to join the Federation rather than submit to Council oversight. The situation is complex, the Chancellor replied diplomatically. The situation is simple, Morrison corrected. The galaxy is choosing freedom over oppression, growth over stagnation, partnership over paternalism. The only question is whether the Council will adapt or become irrelevant. Dr. Alina Rodriguez, the Federation's chief scientist, joined the conversation. Chancellor, we have been monitoring your territories. The technology gap is widening. While Federation members share innovations freely, the Council's hierarchical system prevents rapid advancement. We have maintained peace for 3 millennia, the Chancellor protested. You have maintained the status quo, Morrison replied. There is a difference. Peace built on suppression is not peace at all. It is just delayed conflict. The Chancellor's form dimmed further. What would you require for reconciliation? Morrison looked at his colleagues. They had anticipated this moment. Depends on what you are offering. The Council is prepared to discuss territorial concessions, resource-sharing agreements, and enhanced diplomatic status for human colonies. Chancellor Admiral Price said gently, I do not think you understand. We are not interested in rejoining the Council. We are offering the Council a chance to join us. The implications of that statement clearly shocked the Chancellor. Join you? But the Council has governed the galaxy for 3,000 years of barely managed decline, Dr. Rodriguez interrupted. Look at the data, innovation rates, economic growth, territorial expansion, technological advancement. Every metric shows stagnation under Council rule.
Ow.
Morrison leaned forward. We are not asking you to abandon your principles, Chancellor. We are asking you to embrace better ones. Equality instead of hierarchy. Merit instead of age. Progress instead of tradition. The older species would never accept such changes, the Chancellor whispered. Then they will be left behind, Morrison said simply. The galaxy is moving forward. They can come with us or stay in the past. Lieutenant Commander Foster approached with another tablet. Sir, urgent message from the vegan territories. They are formally requesting Federation membership. That is the 24th species this month, Admiral Price observed. Morrison turned. Back to the Chancellor, you see? The galaxy is choosing. The question is whether the Council will choose with it. The Chancellor was quiet for a long moment. What would membership in your Federation require? Equal representation based on contribution, not age or tradition. Open sharing of technology and resources. Democratic decision-making processes. Respect for individual species autonomy within the framework of galactic law. And if the Council refuses, then the Council continues to exist, governing fewer and fewer species until it becomes irrelevant. Meanwhile, the Federation grows stronger, more innovative, and more prosperous. You are asking us to abandon everything we have built. We are asking you to build something better, Dr. Rodriguez corrected. The humans did not destroy the Council. We just showed the galaxy there was an alternative. The Chancellor's form flickered with uncertainty. I would need to consult with the other senior members. Of course, but do not take too long. The galaxy is not waiting for the Council to decide. It is already moving forward. As the transmission ended, Morrison turned back to the window. New Geneva Station was taking shape beautifully, a symbol of what could be achieved when species work together as equals, rather than in rigid hierarchy. Think they will join? Admiral Price asked. Some will, Morrison replied. The smart ones will realize that the galaxy has fundamentally changed. The stubborn ones will cling to their old ways until they are governing empty space in the Federation. Morrison smiled as he watched a group of mixed-species engineering teams successfully install a new reactor core. The Federation will continue to grow because we are offering something the Council never could, the chance for every species to reach its full potential. Dr. Rodriguez studied her tablet. The preliminary reports from our newest members are encouraging. The Andromedan colonies. have already increased their technological output by 200%. The Rigelian mining operations are exceeding all projections. That is what happens when you remove artificial restrictions, Morrison observed. When you let species contribute based on their strengths rather than their age, Lieutenant Commander. Foster returned with another update. Sir, the Tau Centauri Alliance reports that 3 more Council species have requested information about Federation membership requirements. Morrison nodded. Send them the standard information package. And make sure they understand that membership is about commitment to shared values, not just economic benefits. 3 hours later, another communication came in. This time it was General Kethfer. The snake-like Vorthok military leader who had been so hostile during the original peace talks. Ambassador Morrison, the general's voice was strained. I wish to discuss a matter of mutual concern. Morrison was surprised, but kept his expression neutral. General, what can I do for you? The Outer Rim pirate attacks have reached crisis levels. Without human patrol fleets, our merchant vessels are being systematically destroyed. We are losing billions in cargo and hundreds of lives weekly. I see. And what does the Council propose to do about it? That is the problem, the general admitted reluctantly. Our remaining forces are insufficient. We need help.
Morrison exchanged
Glances with Admiral Price. Are you asking the Federation for assistance? I am asking you personally, species to species. The Vorthok hegemony would be willing to consider alternative arrangements if you could provide security for our trade routes.
alternative arrangements?
Bilateral agreements. Outside the Council framework, Morrison realized what was happening. Individual Council species were beginning to break ranks, seeking direct relationships with the Federation, even if their governments would not officially abandon the Council. I will consider your request, General, but understand that any security agreements would need to be consistent with Federation principles. No special privileges, no hierarchy, equal partnership or nothing. The General's serpentine form seemed to slump slightly. I understand, and I believe my government will find those terms acceptable. After the transmission ended, Dr. Rodriguez shook her head in amazement. The Vorthok were the most hostile to human participation in the original Council. Now they are asking for direct partnership. Desperation makes people reconsider their positions, Morrison observed. When the old system stops working, even the strongest supporters start looking for alternatives. Admiral Price pointed toward the construction outside. The irony is that we never wanted to destroy the Council. We just wanted to be treated fairly. Council destroyed itself, Morrison replied. Just gave the galaxy a better option.